Hello, my adorable squidlings. It is Katie here, and today I'm going to be unboxing the Peerless watercolor box for the month of September. This is going to be my last Peerless box, so I'm kind of sad about that, but I think these boxes are really great, and if I were to have picked any of my favorites from the last few boxes that I've kind of picked up, this one would definitely be it. So if you're looking for a watercolor box, I would highly recommend these. But anyway, let's open it up and see what is in my last box and the box of September. If you are interested in one of my 3 new washi tapes and getting it for free, join my vampire squid tier or higher over on Patreon to get one for free. These will be available in my shop starting September 28th. I'm going to have a humongous store update, so if you want to purchase one of these and you don't want to join Patreon, that's totally fine too. But anyway, here's a look at them, and I'm really excited because they just look so good. Alright, so just like last time, we have the Peerless colored paper here, and we have a little scan me with your phone little card, which it actually tells the items in the box. This is actually really smart. It saves them not only on money, but it also just makes it cooler. I don't know, it makes it like so you don't accidentally get spoiled. So the first thing I'm going to pull out of here is... kind of fold that, I was getting in my way. Alright, so the first thing I'm going to pull out of here is whatever is in this little bubble wrap. What is this? This is so exciting! Okay, so Peerless also makes bottled metallic colors. So this month we got a crimson coral bottle of their metallic color. Now, as you can tell, it has settled. But that's nothing a good shake won't fix. Oh, actually, there's a little card. Separation is normal. Shake bottle vigorously or turn upside down before use. That's so cool. Okay, so we got a really pretty coral color. Then again, we have tutorial paints. So the first box I got actually came with tutorial paints, and this one does too. I'd like to see what colors these are. It seems like there are only 2. There is a pearl gray and a Japonica Scarlet. Ooh, nice. And I didn't mention it last time, but the tutorial colors actually do coincide with a tutorial that they do feature over on their YouTube channel. So if you're interested, search up Peerless Watercolors for their YouTube channel. The next item is another Yasutomo item. I say another because they generally feature Yasutomo items. It is a CC2 brush, and I don't typically use these, but I think it'll be fun to play around with items I don't normally use. That is kind of the point of an art box. Then we have a massive set of Jane Davenport Artist Edition watercolors. So there are 60 in here. And I actually think the Jane Davenport set has exclusive colors. Yeah, right here. So these 4 are exclusive to this set. There's Jane's Gray, Makeup, Contour, and Nectar. They're very pretty. So those are exclusive to the set. And then the last item, we have a second edition in the, where they like label the colors on the handmade sketchbook. And this one is Hunter's Green. Last time was Butterfly Blue, and it was just so gorgeous. I'm not going to be using this sketchbook in particular, but I will be using the other sketchbook that I started last time because I don't like to start a bunch of sketchbooks at once. Okay, it's kind of a lie, but I mean, like, these type of sketchbooks, they're, like, really high quality, and I don't want to start a bunch of them. So, my art piece will be in the Butterfly Blue one, but this is basically the same thing. I'm not sure what paper is in here again. I believe it's either the Fabriano or the Arches, but it is super gorgeous, and I really like getting these little handmade sketchbooks. The center. Oh, well. It's fine. It'll probably bleed through, and that's okay. But it is a super gorgeous, it reminds me of blood. And it's absolutely gorgeous. So I'll let that dry here in a minute. Or I guess I'll let it dry now. But yeah, you can see it's kind of seeping through, and that's okay. That was my own fault. I'm going to dab it up with just a little bit of paper towel to make sure it doesn't go any further. And then I am going to swatch some of these out. Now, there will be some duplicates across this set as there are 60 colors in here. The only ones I know for sure won't be duplicates are going to be the exclusive colors. Alright, so this is going to take a while, so I am going to speed this up and probably put some music behind it because again, there are 60 colors and I'm going to be swatching them all out. So I hope you enjoyed the time lapse and then I'll come back and we'll do some real-time stuff. Alright, here are all 60 colors. I actually got 61. There were 2 butterfly wing blues in there, which was probably just a little mistake. And then here is that crimson, not crimson coral, is it crimson coral? Yeah, it is. And it is so shiny. You can't really tell it on camera, but it is so shiny. Maybe if I turn one of my lights off, you'll be able to see how shiny. Like, it's super metallic. This set is really well-rounded. You get a lot of like fleshy and neutral tones, but you also get a lot of bright colors. So far this has been my favorite set. It is the Jane Davenport set, and it's a really great curated set, to be honest. There were more colors than I anticipated, probably because, well, I don't think all of these would have fit where that blob is. But I will probably do just like a little practice doodle. Again, I am only going to be doing like a limited color palette because it's a lot of colors. And they did have the tutorial colors, which are the Japonica Scarlet and Pearl Gray. They are also featured in the set, so I'm not going to swatch them out. Alright, so first off, I am going to tape off the edges here and just a little self-promo. Look at these cute squids! Okay. I'm going to fail at taping this off. I don't want to tape a lot of these borders because I kind of drew to the edges here. So I am just going to just barely go to the edges. And then I'll fold them under here in a minute. I'm gonna try taping this center here. I don't know how that's gonna work out, but anyway. All right, let me fold these under just to get them out of the way. All right. And then I'm going to be painting, obviously, on this. So again, like last time, I have my colors pre-selected, and I really, really love this nectar color. I think that it is just great. And it's one of the exclusive ones to this set, so I'm really happy. So it's the Jane's Gray, and I'm also going to be using that one. And my attempt for this piece is to make it glowy. We'll see how that works. I am not going to be using the brush that was included because unfortunately I don't care for it that much, which makes me feel really bad, but it is what it is. So I'm going to start off by wetting the entirety of this background. And you may see some colors kind of pop up. These color sheets are, sometimes they're a little dusty, and so they tend to get on my paper when I don't want them to, or they get on my hands or something, which can be kind of frustrating. So anyway, I'm going to pick up a Forget-Me-Not blue color, and I'm just going to start in the center here and fan it out. I want these mushrooms to be like a fantasy mushroom, and I want them to be kind of glowy. So I'm just going to pick up paint and swirl it out. And then I'm probably just going to paint the entire background just to go ahead and get that white out of the way. I don't know about you, but I'm not a big fan of white. Like, I love the color white, but when I'm trying to do a piece, I feel like white is my enemy. And now I'm actually going to clip this back. Not that these pages warp too much. I just want to make sure the pages stay as flat as possible. I'm gonna go in with a little bit more of this forget-me-not blue just in the center here and like where the mushrooms are. I'm just going to paint over them a little bit. The nice thing about these Peerless watercolors is that they're self-blending, so I don't have to do too much work. But yeah, as I do this though, I want to kind of paint a little bit of background in here. I want it to be kind of fuzzy because this is going to be a night scene, so I'm not too concerned about the colors blending with each other. And I'm also going to take a little bit of neutral tint, which is another color that I don't think I had before this, and just darken up some of these grass bits, of course. Of course, again, I am going to be going back in multiple layers, but I just want to go ahead and get some depth in there now. And yeah. I think the last thing I'm going to do before I let this dry is I'm going to go in right there with a little bit of yellow. I have these like little circles and I kind of want them to be little fireflies. So I'm just going to fan them out with a little bit of yellow. I didn't want to do that with the mushrooms because I knew I wanted to add these little fireflies to the scene and I wanted them to be a little bit different. Plus I didn't want to accidentally make green, so these these little fireflies are more of an experiment than they are like, oh, I know what I'm doing, because let's be honest here, I have no clue what I'm doing. I'm going to go in with a little bit of Jane's Gray just to kind of map out some of the darker points of the piece. So the piece, you may not be able to see it quite yet, but the premise of it is there's just like a little teacup shaped in the form of a flower up here that I'm trying to avoid. And it has been spilt and it is spilling down onto the other mushrooms. I liked this cute little idea, so I just decided to kind of run with it. I am being really messy right now because the nice thing about watercolors is, for the most part, you can go back in and detail stuff up and it won't be super obvious that you were really messy. But I just want to kind of block in some background colors before I go any further. And then I'm actually going to take a palette here and mix some of that Jane's Gray with some of the neutral tint to darken it up, and I'm just going to kind of dab some little dots of darkness, dots of darkness in here. I don't want too many because I want this night sky to be a night sky and not like pitch black. And I think I will probably come back and add stars at the very end, but that's for the very end. And then I'm going to let this dry and do its thing. Alright, so I'm going to start adding some more layers to these mushrooms. I want the underneath to be glowy. So I'm just going to add some little lines just to add a little bit of depth here, but not a lot of depth because I want it to be glowy, but I also don't want it to be super overpowering. And I already don't know if I have the glowing effect down due to it being a night scene, and I think I might have already messed that up. But we'll figure it out. And if not, I can always add like some extra white or something to add a little bit more glow if I need to. But yeah, these paints are always fun to use, but they're always a little bit of a learning curve to come back to. Because I don't want to use too much, but I also, sometimes I tend to use a little too little. So it's definitely a balancing act. I would really love to make like a palette for these, like a at-home palette. I think that would be really fun. And then for the tops of the mushrooms, I actually kind of want them to be like a darker, like that nectar color that I really like. And I'm just gonna pop this in here, and if it bleeds, that's okay. We're aiming for fun and not for perfection here. You're gonna see a little bit more of this mushroom on the back side here. I feel like adding the tops of those mushrooms really just kind of made them pop, which I'm very happy about. I also want to add a bit more of this green. Funny enough, I'm using Hunter's Green, and if you're wondering why that's funny, the sketchbook that we got, they feature their own colors on the covers with the little labels, and it was actually Hunter's Green, so I thought it was pretty cool that I actually liked the color for the piece, so. I've also just really been loving lately just doing simple art. It's just been really fun for me, just doing just like little landscapes or things like that. Couldn't think of any more, but I really have been enjoying this type of art. I'm gonna blend that out just a little bit. Now, the next layer, I'm actually going to come in with a different brush. Right now, I'm using a really thick brush, and it's great for adding like really watery layers, but I think my next layer I want to be a little bit more refined. I might even add a little bit of this nectar to the stalk. I don't know if that's a good idea, but we're doing it. It'll kind of push that fantasy element I want to come through a little bit. Maybe we'll add some into the underneath here. And it'll kind of pull them out from the background a little bit. There's really nothing I want to add to these little fireflies. So honestly, I might just deepen up their color a little bit and then leave them be. And then actually, I think for the time being, oops, wrong color. I am just going to let these layers dry. Trying to cover up the bottom part of these stalks here, because they are kind of showing. All right, I'm gonna come back and let that dry. It's a lot of layers, I know. And then I'm going to actually come in and go in more detail instead of all of this like fuzzy, blurry effect. All right, so I first am going to go in. I'm using a mix of the nectar color and the Jane's Gray to make kind of like a purple. It's like a really dark purple. And I'm just going to outline some of these darker areas here. I'm gonna try to feather them out where I can, because I don't want all hard edges. Some of them are fine, but I don't want them all to be hard edges. I feel like these are going to be less glowy and more like fantasy, and I'm okay with that. And then I'm just going to outline really gently down here because I don't want it to stand out too much, but I still want it to be kind of pulled out from the background a little bit. And I think what I might do is go over this with a little bit of, yeah, the color I can't think of right now. A little bit of the Forget-Me-Not blue. I think that's the color I used. Gonna make that look a little bit more prominent underneath. Add a little bit more nectar to these. Just adding some texture, really. And then I might just go over this with some water. Actually, you know what? I wonder, I'm gonna go over this with a little yellow. I wonder if we'll be able to see that. Maybe not, but it's a dream, a pipe dream. You can just a little bit. Alright, so for the background, you know what? I'm honestly just thinking about making them dripping mushrooms and getting rid of the teacup altogether. I know that seems kind of silly, but honestly, it's kind of where I'm at right now. But for the time being, I am going to at least try to make the cup work. I honestly don't know what color I want to make it. I think I might make it green only because, or at least partially green, maybe green and yellow, because it is like a flower. I'm going to turn my page this way. So I've got a little green on my brush, and I'm just going to add the base of the teacup in. It's kind of like stem shaped. And same with the handle. It's kind of leaf shaped, so I know you can't see it very well, but I remember this sketch a little bit. Actually, I might... Yeah, I think I'm going to take this yellow and lighten it up a bit in a palette. And then just kind of go over this really quick. I don't care if the green bleeds, it's fine. I've got a cat hair in here. Ah, cat. Thank you. And I'm just gonna let that do its thing. It's also kind of bleeding into the top of the mushroom, but again, that's totally fine. And you know, I haven't really decided what color the tea is going to be yet. But it's gonna have to be something that shows up. So, let's see. You know what? I might just go ahead and make it like a brown color because I have all the mixes to make a brown. So I think I'm going to make it a brown. However, I'm not going to start up by the teacup because that's needing to dry quite a bit. Kind of wish I'd started on that teacup a little earlier because I'm going to have to go in with a few more layers, but that's okay. I am also going to darken up this part. It feathered out a little more than I wanted it to. And then for some of these areas, I'm just going to go in and start kind of chiseling it out for the night sky. And I'm going to be using the neutral tint as well as Jane's Gray just to make like a dark inky color. And the nice thing is too, it'll kind of, like any mistakes that I need to fix, I can do so, which is nice. I appreciate that. I am going to be careful to not get too close to areas that need to dry. So for instance, this tea over here, I'm just going to leave that alone. And just throw in some Jane's Gray where it is not touch it. This poor teacup looks so bad. I'm going to spread some of this out a little bit because it picked up a lot of the pigment. I'm hoping that dries soon. So I am going to leave a lot of this the way it is currently. I may feather some of this out a little bit. Then I'm going to let this stuff dry and then we're going to do another layer and it should be the final layer. We'll see. Now to finish it off, I'm going to use this crimson coral color and I'm actually just going to go over the tea because you can barely see it with this background. So I am going to just squeeze a little bit out into this palette. That is way too much. We're going to suck some of that back up. I don't want to waste this. This is very pretty ink. And then I'm gonna grab a paintbrush and dry it off. And then I'm just gonna go right over the top, mixing as I grab more. Now this isn't super opaque, but it'll have that sparkle element, so you'll be able to see it. Kind of looks like blood. I suppose it is almost October, so why not? Gonna make it look like it's pouring out of the cup a little bit. And then after I let this dry, I am going to add a little bit of white, but I think I'm going to do that off camera. And then I'll show you what the final piece looks like whenever it's done. Alright, so here is the look at the final piece. I added a little bit of a fine liner just to certain points to bring them out a little more, and this was a really fun piece. I actually really like it, and I really had a great time painting it. So I hope you had a great time painting along with me or just hanging out. If you did doodle anything, as always, you can use the hashtag squidoodlingwithkatie over on Instagram to show me what you doodled, and if you do that, I'll probably comment and like it and all that stuff. So please share your art with me. I really want to see it. I hope you guys are having a squidoodly awesome day. I hope you guys are staying safe and happy and healthy. I hope you all are staying safe, happy, and healthy wherever you are. And I hope that you will join me for my next video next time. It will be on either a Friday or a Saturday. My upload schedule is kind of iffy. But it'll be either Friday or Saturday. And actually, the next video should be Inktober, or not Inktober, but Vamptober, Fangtober. I haven't decided what I'm going to call it yet, but I'm hoping to do daily videos. If not, I'll at least do weekly videos. And yeah, so anyway, I hope you guys will join me for that. I love you all so much. If you're not a part of our Cute Squid Pod, hit that subscribe button down below. I have social media in the description below as well if you want to join any of that. And until next time, my adorable squidlings, toodaloo!